Welcome to Coast with New Canaan Society. The first week of each month, the New Canaan Society podcast flies to the 30,000 foot level. Soaring across the country, we go coast to coast about men, our movement, and deeper meaning. So hold on. With Manhattan chapter Dr. Chip Roper on the East Coast and NCS President Mason Rutledge on the West Coast, here we go. Coast to Coast.
Mason, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a quarter zip Friday. We're both wearing quarter zips on this fine.
Quarter zips. Actually, I'm a full zip, brother. I don't want to be a cool quarter or anything.
Whoops. Okay, big time.
But you have an Orvis.
Yeah.
You have an Orvis, and that's you win the zip contest. I'm just Land's End today, so what can I say?
I'm faking it. I was in Vermont. That's where they're based. I went to the factory outlet. I've never stepped foot in a river with a pole ever. So.
No, you can't let the NCS brothers know this stuff.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I'm a big Fisher guy.
Yeah. You gotta play that cool and just nod your head.
Well, you got to remember, I'm the Pacific Northwest, so we're not rivers. We're Puget Sound. We go out in big boats, catch big fish with big nets.
Oh, okay. With nets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have whole country.
Do?
Well, my friends do.
No, see, come on.
I talked to Vince on the corner yesterday, and he, it's the we've got a large Croatian population, and they're the fishermen out, and the Norwegians. We get whole countries mad at us about our fishing activities. So don't try to push on. I'm not a fisherman.
You're always like trying to just build up Seattle.
I am. I do what I can for the team.
We'll keep working on that.
Hey, you're a grandpa now.
I'm a grandpa now.
Congratulations.
James Charles was born like 17 days ago, as of the date of our recording here today. So.
Oh wow! And what are you? Have you selected a name that you're? This is the thing now with grandparents. It's not just a grandpa and grandma.
So this is it is a thing, and that's what everybody asks you. They don't ask you like, how do you feel? What are you thinking about?
What's your name?
They always want to know what your name is. So,
right.
And I don't know. You may have to bleep this. And I know you're very sensitive about the NCS censors, but so my wife is Mimi. Like that's been established. She already has a T-shirt, the whole thing. Like she's going to be Mimi.
Wow. Okay.
So my kids think I should be called Pee-Pee.
Pee-Pee. Okay, that sounds right.
No, I'm not down with that, Mason. I think I don't want to be called Pee. I mean, no, absolutely not. So I'm lobbying for Papa Ropes. So
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna shoot for. But you know how this works, because you're a grandfather. Like, yeah, you're gonna be called whatever they tell that kid to call you. Right. And you're gonna show up there one day, and he's gonna call you something. So.
There's grandparents on the other side that have already taken some names.
Yeah, like the family tension comes out.
Right, right.
Who gets the premier titles and everything? It's a big drama.
My thing was the race to have my name be said first. I wanted to be before Mom, Dad, Grammy, the dog. It needed to be Papa. So I was just working it from day one.
That's what you are. You're Papa.
Papa. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think awesome. I love it.
It's also very conniving and political of you to figure out how to do that.
It is. And it's also interesting that, NCS, we're doing grandpa talk today. That's not really what we're about on the Coast to Coast with the NCS podcast.
No, it's not, but we haven't seen each other for a month, so we're
catching up. No, it has been a while. Yeah. And thanks to
everybody
else.
Thanks to everybody else. Grandfather.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, I mean, it just really pushes you into a whole new season. And we had a guest at NCS Manhattan a few weeks ago who said, as you move into a new season, you have to think about how you need to kind of level up as a man. And it's so totally true. And that's what we're all about. So it's great.
Yes, and by the way, everybody, thank you for joining us for Grandpa Talk today. It's good to have you with us. We look forward to the day you get to be a grandpa, or if you are, you can tell us about it. Call in. But it is NCS, Coast to Coast. We talk about all things New Canaan Society. It's Chip Roper over there is on the East Coast, and I'm on Puget Sound on the West Coast. So that's the coast and the coast.
Yeah, I'm not just on the East Coast. I'm in New York City, man. Come on.
That's true.
Give us some props over here.
New York City. Did you guys did you have some issues this way? I have issues every day in the city at some level, but didn't something go on this week? Did I see something? Who knows? Who knows?
Real New Yorkers, we don't care. It's
Right.
great clickbait, but we just keep going about our
Just
business.
keep moving. When you were talking about just being with people here last night, I was with a group of folks. It's a buddy of mine. I think he's a former NCS board member. Even he runs a company that buys companies basically. And he pulls together people now and then. And last night was a meeting in my town here of Everett. Got together with them, and we all talked about kind of what words do we need to listen for when that would tie to our business. And I said, and I had been reading John 7 where Jesus promises living water. And I said, if you run into guys and they're thirsty, that's the guys that's the guys that we work with, guys that want more. That's getting back to the leveling up your game, It's the guy, if you run into a guy and he's like, man, I feel like a fraud, or I am a fraud, or I'm doing fraud, maybe not that far, but the level of wanting to do better in life, that I'm just thirsty for more. I'm thirsty to be a better husband. I'm thirsty to be I'm thirsty to be a better grandfather, even how to figure out how to do this. There's that thirst that guys in NCS have, and that's why they come on a Thursday morning or Friday morning or Monday night or whatever.
Totally. Like that I'm an executive coach, among other things. And Tom Cole, one of our board members and a good friend, always says, what's it take? Like, what's the recipe for a good coaching relationship? And I said, it always comes down to some pain. And I feel like in an NCS chapter, there's always guys walking in the door that are experiencing some pain. Like there's a gap in their life where they wouldn't be there. There's a gap in their life that no other community is filling. And so what's beautiful about that is that it gives us all an opportunity across the network to really make a strategic difference in a guy's life.
Right.
And what's challenging about it is that those gaps are messy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We could talk about this because you and I had a friend who this week hit one of those gaps and had to say, I'm done, I'm changing, da da da. And I it could be bad, it could be good, but there was a gap there that made for an immediate change. Mm-hmm. And it creates mess. It creates multiple follow-up meetings and phone calls just for clarity on what's going on, right. Bad or good. And this is the challenge of the work that we do, and the beautiful thing. And I'm so thankful for what you do in Manhattan, what folks are doing in Fort Wayne, Fort Myers, Charlotte, on and on. We got great folks doing great work. It's a gift.
And I guess, at least for me, it really dials into the essence of Christmas.
That's true, right?
Jesus coming to the messy world. And the technical term for it's incarnation. He becomes in a body, and comes into our messy world. And even though we don't deserve it or want it, and it's like he's entering into that chaos. He's entering into those questions. He's entering into the ambiguity to rescue us. And it's kind of like, we don't want to do that. I don't want to, and I don't need more mess in my life. I want to I want to have all the predictable relationships and everything kind of and not organized in like a overly anal way, but just the sense of things are pretty predictable, pretty stable, and and that kind of thing. And I think that's one of the things that when you have a dynamic NCS chapter, you're going to have some chaos, and it's a way to follow in the footsteps of Jesus and to create that space, to make room in your life for it, and to walk with guys that are where there's that gap or that struggle.
Well, even in the midst of this challenge or change that we've been dealing with, I've had people say to me, "Are you doing okay?" And I'm like, "I'm doing good. I actually like these kind of things in a kind of a sick kind of way, Because if we weren't meaningful, there wouldn't be challenges. Because there's challenges, I go, we must be doing something right because we're on the edge. If we weren't on the edge, if it was easy, that's not what we're promised. Even in going back to John 7, sorry, I've just been there, but Jesus is facing challenges, facing that Sanhedrin, a crowd, even his own brothers who don't believe in him. And he says, my time's not yet come. He's telling them, maybe your time is go ahead, you go, but my time hasn't come. And the world hates me. The world might be fine with you, but it hates me. And then he even says, why don't you go? I'm not going. And it's not a soft, mamby-pamby, just kind of, it is a challenging, rough. It's a lot different than the church I grew up with, which was everybody sits in a pew, looks the same, very calm. I'm sorry, I'll go off on one more little tangent. My mom, part of my
I just
story.
want to stop you there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You don't know my mom.
This is just one big tangent. That's what Coast to Coast is.
That's true. My mom was just an active alcoholic in the 70s, and we went to church with my grandmother, who I called Nana. That was her name, Nana. She was an early, adopter of the different names, Norwegian kind of thing. And the church kind of rejected my mom because of her struggles with alcoholism, which is that's not how it actually should go.
Right.
Fortunately, she found sobriety through AA and had a great church life, but she always had that little bit of a sting in her life. So whenever anybody entered the picture, she was there to talk to them that didn't quite fit the church model. I'm thankful that today, the church I go to, it's a mess. I mean, on a Sunday morning, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's like
we brought
great.
the AA group up from the basement, and now they're welcome in the in the auditorium.
They're right there. Yeah, I'm here, and let's go.
That's great, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful thing, and well, what do you? How are you going to? The thing about the incarnation, that my bad youth pastor illustration for incarnation is. Chili, it says, when it has beef, I think it's incarnate, and I say that's kind of what God did.
No, it's con carne.
Con carne. Thank you. I don't sprechen Sie. So
that's Spanish.
I'm confused. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you put folks out in Puget Sound. Come on.
It's the God could have done it cleaner. He could have done he's God. He could have done a giant voice from space. He could have just zapped all of us. He could have put a big reader board. But instead, he came into our earth. I mean, it's chili con carne. The meat is in the chili. You can't separate it. It's in there. It's a part of it. It's a mess. Again, it breaks down. I understand. Give me a break. But it's true to the fact that God came to earth. And that's what we get to celebrate at Christmas, as we enter into December. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, and I think it from at a deep level, it's a biblical concept that really has shaped our movement. That guys are going to be there for other guys, that they're like your mom, they're not going to find that welcome like they should, and in churches or other places. And I think frankly, I think that's why God still has us here as a movement.
Well, I agree, and if it doesn't take very much of a Google swipe to find the NCS history out there. It exists, and we actually, we should embrace our history. If we're going to be broken men working with broken men, should we not expect to have some, broken things happen? And we're going to do our best, and we have done our best, and we've survived through it, and you got to have integrity in the whole deal. But there are going to be challenges, and it is interesting to think, how do we at NCS, with the guys we're working with, I feel like there's a couple different dudes out there. There's guys like us. We've got grandkids and children and
zip ups.
And
Some of us have full zip ups, some only quarter zip
quarter
ups.
zip.
but,
I'm really looking for the 7/8 zip up. That's the one I want. I want to get that thing. I want to get that thing all the way down to kind of Clearwater, and 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 we're gonna have a full Christmas. If anything, it's going to be like remember Christ in the middle of your busy activities.
Yeah, it's going to be actually a challenge.
Right. And then we've got guys on the other side of the spectrum. Maybe they're divorced, they're disenfranchised from their kids, or their kids are prodigals, don't want to talk to them, or maybe they even are married and their kids are not engaged with their kids, or they've lost a spouse. And Christmas is holidays are just a really challenging time. And in NCS, we need to be there for both dudes. We need to be there for the guys that are too busy saying, remember your health, remember your life in Christ, lean in at this season. And we got to be there for the guys that are alone to say, you're not alone. I'm with you. Reaching out to a friend. This is a critical time, I think, for men, this season, Christmas, on both ends of that spectrum.
Totally. It's one of those places where we probably over-index on the fairy tale side of, family and all, like snowflakes and church and bells. Bells are very important. And then there's other people that are like, this is terrible. I'm alone. Or it's a reminder that I'm not where I thought I'd be. I thought I'd be with my kids, or I thought I'd be married, or my career, and it's really tough.
That's one thing God could have done better is don't put Christmas up against the year end, because you kind of have this clash of just a restart and kind of thinking about your life, and you have this emotion of just having been with the family and all that engages. I'm on a talk. I probably shouldn't say that.
You're going to blame God for that?
No, I'm not.
The Roman calendar and all that other stuff?
Yeah, right.
Come on, Mason.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question is to think about, so how do those of us who have kind of this full plate holiday, how do we create that space for our brothers who don't? And I don't have an answer to that. I just think it's a question for us to sort of wrestle with collectively.
Well, I think it's good that we're just talking about it, and I hope guys hear it out there in the NCS family and just men across the country, because it's important, and we're not going to think about it. And if we have the busy schedule, we're going to blow right by it on one way or the other.
And I think some of us who are OG NCS, we need to remember, like there's some shifting realities. Like I don't know if I don't remember if we talked about this, but we had a Christian matchmaker speak at NCS Manhattan, and I
listened. I woke up.
Listened, right?
Yeah, I was on.
And she
online.
was awesome. It was a she, which we shake the tree we have a female guest once or twice a year usually.
Yeah.
But when she started to talk, she said, "How many of you guys are single at NCS Manhattan?" Half the guys raised their hand.
Right.
And we have a monthly dinner at NCS Manhattan, and the last one we had, I just looked around and I was like, most of those guys were single. And so we had to, I think, broaden our imaginations a little bit about how we walk together with those guys. We have to stop just talking. I mean, we started talking about grandsons.
We let off with grandsons,
but that's not necessarily the path that a lot of our brothers are on. And you know what? That doesn't matter. God's got a plan for them. God's going to come into their mess just like he has ours. And they've got important things to do with their lives and their relationships, whether they get married and have kids and become grandpops or not. So, and I think, that's for me, that's been a bit of a revelation. I'm used to our speakers coming in and talking. They're all following that sort of traditional family track. And historically that's been its way, but it's changing and we need to change with it. And,
yeah, this week, and we also need to remember this isn't just for NCS. This is going out to men everywhere. I think this week I got an email from a guy in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and he said, "Hey, I signed up for your emails. I've been getting them. I've been reading them. I've been on your website. I've looked at your website. I've been on your YouTube channel. I'm listening to the podcast. I've really examined you guys, and I want to get something started. And if not here, maybe there's another town that he does some work in, maybe there. And it was interesting because I thought he's got all the information, he's got all the communication, but he doesn't have the connection. And that's what we want, is the connection. The only reason we're doing this podcast is so that you men out there reach out and connect with another man, a group of men that are going to help continue to orientate you to Christ and orientate you to friendship with each other. That's the key. So I told this guy, I don't know if we're really interested in Canada. I mean, have you met those people up there? Beautiful people, but
They're really nice. They'll be
they're
nice.
they're way too
They'll be
polite.
nice.
We're certainly going to offend them. I said, let's go Canada. And especially Calgary. It's a great city. So they got the Stampede, they got skiing. But I think the thing for us to remember is, gentlemen, we just need to be reaching out to each other. The guys are desperate for connection.
I think sometimes when we say stuff like this, like we all like, I was sharing at my church a few weeks ago, like, I don't need another should in my life.
Yeah,
like
nobody wants to shoot on you.
Well, I just don't need. I'm like, my plate's full, man. I feel like I'm doing a lot, and I don't have a lot of margin. And then we take a thing like, well, we should reach out to the single guys, or we should start a chapter as like a huge burden, and I just think this is actually a place to really lean into our friendship with Jesus at a real granular level. And he'll show us what we need to do. And you don't need to do everything, and you don't need to save the world, and you don't need to invite every single, if you're a married with children guy, you don't need to invite every single guy over, for Christmas dinner. It's more like just open your eyes, and God's going to show you, like, here's one person I want you to talk to, or here's one person that needs, you just have coffee with them and encourage them, or there's, like even starting a chapter, like, it only works if you have, like, there's 3 or 4 other guys I want you to lean into this with. You're not going to do it alone. It's not, you're going to carry the burden alone, and you're going to do it together. So I think God will show us that. And to me, anyway, it's so much more. It's more of an adventure, actually, to think, well, God's going to show me. I don't have to manufacture this. I don't have to like grind on it on my own. It's going to happen, and
we do have a balancing.
That's his thing.
Yeah, we do have a balancing act, and this is where New Canaan Society is unique. Is there's no program. It's not like, here's the curriculum you go through. Work through this, and when you get done with this, you're done with level 1, and then we're going to go to level 2. And it's funny because I do run in, and you do too, as we travel around and visit different chapters. I'll run into guys who go, "We got all these men, and we need to motivate them to do this and do this." And I think to myself, I don't want to say to the guy, "No, we're not doing that." I kind of listen to him and take it in and process it and pray about it. But we're not a program that tells guys to do stuff. It's way more about being, to be present with your Lord, to be present with your spouse, to be present with your children, and to be present with each other, friendship. And now that will cause a lot of dues. And the jail ministry that New Canaan Society does it's second only to prison fellowship. We do a lot of jail ministry, but it's all done through these individual guys. There's almost one in every chapter who's been captured by going, I'm going to get to those guys in jail. I mean, I think we even have a chapter called NCS Inside, which is where we run NCS chapters inside prisons. I'm so thankful for Skip and the guys that have been involved in that.
It's Chip.
I thought you were Chip.
There's 2 Chips.
Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody
Chip
else.
Scouron. Is that who you're thinking of?
Oh,
Connecticut?
Yes. Connecticut. Yeah. Wonderful guy.
He's
Hey,
an
we
awesome
should,
guy.
one of the things that is going to happen, or that happens for us, because you raise money at year end, I raise money at year end. One of the things we're doing is year end fundraising, and it kind of captures this season as well. On top of
what's that like for you, Mason?
It's a lot of work. Like, if you try to get on my Calendly right now, it's completely blocked out until January, because I know that I tell people there's three F's I should be involved in December, November, December. 3 F's: family, festivities, and fundraising. If it doesn't fit in those three, it can wait till January, because I could do whatever that is in January. So if I need a colonoscopy, it's in January. That's when I'm getting that done.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, maybe too much information. I'm just trying to be vulnerable.
TMI.
Leading with vulnerability. Yeah. For New Canaan Society this year, we have a theme for our a direction, if you will, for our year-end fundraising, and we've titled it "What's Your Aim?" And it's helping guys think about what is their. And I think this is generally true too. We want to help guys think about what is your aim when we talk about whether it's Christmas and focusing on Jesus, if it's our family and being healthy there, or starting a new chapter. What are we trying to get towards in life? It's a different way of saying what are you going to do? It's like, where are you going? As you be, where is that moving you? And it's been interesting to engage with guys around that, or have them ask questions about it as we're working to raise some dough.
Yeah, how's that resonating? What are you finding out?
It's been a mixed bag. I mean, really, and honestly, we're doing a mailing that probably went out yesterday, so I don't know if everybody will have seen it till that happens, and then there'll be emails going out over the next couple of weeks. So it's just starting to roll out. It's been a little bit. In New Canaan Society, it's been an interesting history we've had. I just did a video about this that will go out on Monday or Tuesday. When we started, there was one guy that funded the whole deal. Very nice, beautiful, very generous. And then for decades, or a decade, we've existed with a board and major donors that have funded the whole deal. Well, if we're really going to be a movement of men across the country, we need a broad spectrum of people that are funding us on a regular basis. And it's not about the funding, it's about capturing people's hearts. But it's just true that if you're writing a check, you're gonna be praying and believing and supporting that ministry. So
your heart follows your treasure.
That's right. So
somebody important said that.
I think so.
Yeah.
What we're really trying to do is just say, this year at least, let's get more people to the table that are donating, and we need more monthly donors. So it's an interesting challenge for New Canaan Society, because our donor list is not very long, but they do a great job, and it's a beautiful thing. But I don't think it's what God would have for us. If we're truly going to be a movement across the country, I want the winnows. I want those small checks that are coming in every month, but we know that people are behind us and praying for us. And so we're actively getting after it right now. I have a meeting this afternoon with some board members to talk about it, and it's our second update on it, and we're cranking away.
Which is great, by the way, and we appreciate you driving that, being the tip of the spear on that. How do you think we should think through the dynamic of funding national versus funding our local chapter? And it's, the official line was both and as a person who's been involved for a long time, it's both. I give to both. And but it's kind of an interesting thing, because for a lot of the guys in the chapters, national's kind of invisible. Are you running into that? Are you that tension? Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the great things about bringing you on is you're a fresh set of eyes on the whole thing. So how about that specific dynamic between funding local chapters and funding national? And we have a fairly big nut in Manhattan, to keep the lights on.
Yeah, you do. Right. No, we actually need to figure out how to do it better. Like, I want to help raise more money for local chapters. We're not doing that this year because our systems just don't allow it. But as we build better systems, we'll be able to do that. But our fundraising should be for everybody. And I do believe, and I've done this before because I was with Young Life, for a long time, and I had 52 areas, which were like 52 chapters, if you will, individual budget numbers that all had couple $100,000 budgets that they needed to raise, and I needed to raise, $750,000, and we all got it done. But I think the key, honestly, and I love this, is to be open-handed. If there was a chapter that said to me, we need help, I want us to be available to help. And I want to work with guys, and I have, that are open-handed. I mean, even on Giving Tuesday, which is a day of generosity that happens after Thanksgiving, we had a half dozen chapters that sent emails out on our behalf. And we were late. I think we could have had more than half. We were just late to the game. We're still figuring out some of these systems on how we communicate. It's a genuine challenge. I do believe that people will give to separate entities, if you will. They'll think in their mind, I'm giving to NCS Grosse Pointe, and I'm giving to NCS National. And they won't, I don't think they'll think NCS. That's not true of everybody. There's some people that will, but that's what we're hoping for. And the good news is our national budget is small. I mean,
yeah, it's lean. This is a lean organization.
Yeah, next year, if our budget is $600,000 for a national movement, I'm talking about just our national budget, it's going to be, they'd be surprised. And most of our chapters have a pretty small nut to crack. I mean, and so I think we can help them raise money in the process and have a win all the way around. But it will take some better processes, or than we have right now, or as they say in Canada, for our Calgary friends, process.
There's a process in place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
So we want everybody to participate. Actually, we want everybody to participate and pray about what you used to do and do it. And I could say we will be. So and we'll be doing both chapter and national level. Mason, as we kind of wind down the year, it's not a full year, but it's your first year with us, and you're looking forward to the year end, and you've traveled so much. You probably have a better sense of what's going on in the movement than anybody has in recent years. It's pretty wild. So what are you really encouraged about and hopeful for as we head into 24?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I was just I've done 29 states since May 1st. And I would say I'm still learning a ton. When I go to a chapter, I'm still vigorously taking notes, or with the leadership team. I've been to all the cities at this point, if you will, either chapter or leadership team meetings. It's been the same for me as I call it the dogs. We just got great guys, and we have really incredible men. And so what excites me is getting all those men moving in the same direction, and that direction being one of loving Jesus and loving each other. That's it. I mean, if we can create men if we can help men move towards, I should say, rather than create, that's a bad word, but move men towards loving Jesus more, and therefore serving their wives in new ways, and loving their kids in fresh ways, and doing business in innovative ways. And
being there for their single brothers in fresh ways.
Also being there for guys being there for guys. I mean, doing friendship in real, authentic ways. If we could do that, that's the kind of thing that could change the country. I know we got an election in 2024. I guess it'll certainly make some differences. But if we want to make a lasting change, we could do that by impacting the men in our country. There's just no doubt about it. So I'm still most excited about the meta narrative, the big picture. When I get down in the weeds, that I get excited about those things. I just don't think it's that fun to talk about. I'm excited about getting a database going and a new giving system, and we got a lot of plumbing to fix in the building. But the house is beautiful. I mean, just gorgeous, and it can host a lot of people and make a real impact in its neighborhood. So, let's go, man.
That's a great word.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
Good to see you.
Good to see you. And let's remind people, Coast to Coast with NCS, make sure to subscribe, tell guys in your chapter about it, tell friends at church, comment, if you will, give it a 5-star rating, whatever you want. And Chip, it's always good to hang out with you. It's been a while, so let's make sure we get face to face soon, or get in the same room soon.
3D. It's called 3D. We're going to see each other in 3D. And Merry Christmas to everybody who's out there listening.
Merry Christmas, Papa Rope.
Merry Christmas, Papa.
Yeah. All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the New Canaan Society podcast. Remember to subscribe and comment. For more about NCS, go to newcanansociety.org. God bless.